Good morning. Well, I wanted to continue our conversation from yesterday about walking in the blessing. I'm going to do a series of posts now talking about 7 ways to release blessing in your life. If you remember yesterday, we were talking as we were over in the park. We were talking about how if we are going to release a spirit of generosity, if we are going to embrace generosity, we have to first of all understand that we are blessed, and then walk in our blessing. And I talked about how so many of us lose the ability to be generous or forsake the ability to be generous simply because we do not understand our blessedness and we do not understand how to walk in the blessing. And I want to talk about that today, and I want to talk about 7 things that release blessedness into your life. 7 attitudes or 7 actions that you can take that release blessedness into your life. Because at its root, at its heart, generosity is linked to blessedness. So let's talk about the first thing that releases, the first mindset that releases blessing into our lives. The first mindset that we have to grab hold of in order to release blessedness into our life is the mindset of honoring our health, both physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And this is something that we don't do very well for a lot of reasons here in America. My daughter and I were having a conversation about this very subject, about how I don't honor my physical health very well. And that's something that over the course of 2020 and through the course of this pandemic, I really need to begin looking at. I need to look at changing my mindset towards honoring my physical health, both through diet, exercise, actually seeing the doctor, and taking care of my physical health in the way that I need to. But it's not just our physical health. So many of us do the proper things as far as going to the doctor and doing physical exercise and all those kind of things. But we because of the pace of our lives, or because of the relationships in our lives, we don't take very good care of our mental, emotional, or spiritual health. And so I want to talk about that. One of the reasons we block blessing, or one of the ways we block blessing, is by refusing to take steps to make sure that we are mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy. Releasing blessing in our lives requires us to honor our health by dealing with past trauma. If you've got past trauma in your life, that the longer that trauma sits in your life and is allowed to fester without being released through forgiveness, being released through self-actualization, or realization of your freedom from the past trauma, without actually going to therapy or confession and actually talking about the past trauma. That trauma sits in the middle of our life like a giant roadblock, and blessing sometimes can't get through it. And so releasing blessing into our lives requires us to honor the pathway of healing and to do what we need to do to deal with the past trauma. We need to enter into a confessional relationship, perhaps, that will release the trauma. We need to talk it through with a therapist or a trusted advisor. We need to realize that we're free from the past. We are not our past. Or we need to do some work with forgiveness. We need to forgive some of the past hurts and hang-ups that are holding back the blessing in our lives. So what are some ways we can honor the attitude of health in our lives? Well, physically, that involves things like going to the doctor, exercising, eating right, mentally, choosing what you look at or what you watch or what you listen to, making sure that the things that are coming into your mind are healthy and good. Emotionally, dealing with those past traumas or present traumas and beginning to walk in that space of healing from them, doing the forgiveness work or the confessional work or the therapy work that you need to do in order to balance out your emotions. And finally, spiritual. We need to find our spiritual center in Jesus Christ and really begin to understand that He is the chief blesser and blessing flows from Him. And so the closer we are to Him, the deeper our blessedness will be. Well, I hope this has been interesting and informational for you. Walk in the blessing. Have a great day.